Let's begin our exploration of Python input and output. In this lesson, we will explore how to take input from the user and display output from our Python programs. This is crucial for creating interactive and user-friendly applications. The print function is a fundamental tool in Python for displaying text and variable values to the console. It is your primary way to show results, messages, and any other information to the user. With the print function, you can display multiple values at once, customize how these values are separated, and control what happens at the end of the line. Here are some examples. The first one is a basic print statement with the message, "Hello World," and the second is displaying the name and version variables together. As a result, it prints "Hello World" in the first line in Python, followed by 3.11 in the second line. Python's print function offers advanced options to customize the output. You can change the separator between the items being printed using the set parameter. You can also control what character is printed at the end of the line using the end parameter. In the first example, you can see how separator is customized. And in the second example, you can see how line endings can be controlled to keep the output on the same line. As a result, the first line prints default, apple banana cherry, and second line prints custom, apple pipe banana pipe cherry. Then the fourth line prints line 1 and fifth line prints line 2. Finally, line 7 prints line 1 greater than and eighth line prints line 2. String formatting is a powerful way to create dynamic and readable text in Python. F-strings, introduced in Python 3.6, offer a concise way to embed expressions inside string literals for formatting. The format method can also be used to format strings with more control over how values are displayed. In the first example, we show how to format string using F-strings. In the second example, we show how to format string using the format method. As a result, the first example prints the name Alice and age 25. And the second example calculates the total amount by multiplying price 49.95 and quantity 3. And the total comes out to be $149.85. The input function is used to get information from the user via the console. When called, it pauses the program and waits for the user to type in a value and press enter. The input function is important because it allows for interactive programs where users can provide data while the program is running. It is important to note that the input function returns a string. Here is a basic example of how to use the input function. It prompts the user to enter their name, and then prints a personalized greeting. As a result, when the user inputs Python as name, the program prints "Hello Python." Since the input function returns a string, you often need to convert the input to a different data type, like an integer or a float, to perform calculations or other operations. The int function converts a string to an integer, while the float function converts a string to a floating point number. Let's see how to convert to integers and floats. As a result, when the user enters age as 25, the program prints the message "In 5 years, you'll be 30. And when the user enters the price as 19.99, then the program prints tax, $1.60. When taking input from users and converting it to numerical types, it's important to handle potential errors. Users might enter non-numeric values, which can cause your program to crash if not handled properly. Try and accept blocks can be used to manage these errors. Here is an example of how to implement error handling. If the user enters a valid number, the program proceeds with the calculation. If the user enters a non-numeric value, a value error is caught, and an error message is displayed. As a result, in the first example, the program prints "You are 25 years old." In the second example, the program prints "Please enter a valid number." Sometimes you need to take multiple values as input from the user in a single line. The split method can be used to separate these values into a list. Let us explore how it is done. In the first example, the input is separated into 3 variables x, y, and z. In the second example, the inputs are separated into W and H and they are type converted into floats for calculating area. As a result, in the first example, when the user enters 10, 20, 30, then the program prints x equals 10, y equals 20, and z equals 30. And in the second example, when the user enters 5.5 and 3.2, then the program prints area, 17.6 square units. Python can read from and write to files, which is essential for handling data stored on disk. The open function is used to open a file, and the read and write methods are used to read from and write to the file, respectively. The with statement ensures that the file is properly closed after the operations are completed. In the first example, the contents of a file named data.txt are read and printed to the console. In the second example, 2 lines of text are written to a file named output.txt. As a result, the first example prints hello world, followed by this is a text file. In the second example, it prints the message file written successfully. Let's look at some of the best practices to keep in mind when dealing with user input and output. When taking user input, always validate the input to ensure it is in the expected format and range. Provide clear and specific prompts to guide the user on what input is expected. Use try and except blocks to handle potential errors during type conversions. And use loops to allow users to retry if they enter invalid input. For the output, you can use f-strings for more readable and maintainable code. Format numbers and dates appropriately for clarity. Provide context with your output so that the user can easily understand the results. Always close files after use to prevent resource leaks and potential data corruption. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.